Hello, hello, hello. This is Leslie Klein, independent demonstrator for Stamp It Up, and I am here today with a fun card. It is called a spotlight card, I learned. I had never heard about the technique or what it was until today. I was in a little retreat with my team members, and we got this free stamp set, the Daisy Garden, and one of the examples they showed was spotlighting, and I thought, oh, what is that? And I looked into it, and I think it is a stunning technique that is super simple, and so I am going to share that with you guys today. So first off, we need obviously the Daisy Garden stamp set. Basic white cardstock in sizes 8.5 by 11, scored at 4 inches, 4 by 5.5, and also a 2.5 by 4. And then we're going to need a piece of basic black at 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/4 inch. Yeah, I'm just making sure I wrote that down right. We've had issues with our measurements in the past, guys. Okay. We also need the Memento Tuxedo black ink pad and the Balmy blue, and then we are going to color it with some blends. We're using the Melon Mambo, the Pumpkin Pie, the Daffodil Delight, and the Old Olive. I went for summery colors because I'm feeling summer. It's that time of year. It's sunshiny and warm and happy, and flowers are here. And mosquitoes, but you know, if we're staying indoors and crafting, they can't get us. We also need the liquid glue, a sponge dauber, and for your stamp you're going to want the F block because it's the one that it happens to fit on. So we are going to get started. Okay, so I'll get my little dauber out of there. I don't quite need it yet. So to start, we're going to stamp our black image that is the background. And I did this a real wonky way the first time I did it, but we're going to test something out together. To make sure that this lines up, I want to try putting this on there before I stamp it and stamping them at the same time. See, I don't know that that's going to work though. We're going to try it. We're going to try it. If it doesn't work, we can flip the paper over, right? It'll be fine. And that way we make sure our image is centered and everything can line up pretty. If you're not a perfectionist, you could just stamp it separate, but I'm definitely a perfectionist, so there's that. Okay, and then we're going to take our stamp. I'm going to stand for this part. The leverage. I'm going to ink this up with our Tuxedo black. And hope that my little shortcut cheat works out for us. So you want to get the part that you want to focus on, you want to be in that center part. We're going to go there because that's where I accidentally set it down. So. I mean, it would have worked out real nicely had I not totally moved that, but I wonder. Look it, with our black on there, it will totally still work. We're gonna call that a win, guys. Okay, so set that to the side. Okay, so next we get to do the fun part, which is coloring. Well, first finger daubers. We need the sponge dauber and our balmy blue and a scratch piece of paper. So for this, I just took and like very lightly because I didn't want it super dark because I am going to end up going a little over the petals. I just kind of went around like where the background of the flowers is to color it in so that I did the blue because I felt like it looked like a summer sky. And I just want to coat, you don't need to do this super dark. Just enough to like make it not white, I suppose, is what we're going for. I try to keep the dauber like as much as I can, like if it's gonna hit something that's not the background, towards the leaves opposed to the petals, because I feel like the leaves are easier to cover the blue up with the green opposed to like the yellows and oranges we're going with in the petals. This doesn't have to be like 100% like all even and saturated the same, because like the sky's varying shades. That's totally kosher. Okay, now that that's done, now we get to do the fun part, which is coloring. And I was super excited when Stampin' Up! Came out with the blends because I love to color. I find it super relaxing and satisfying to like put color on a page. And so when they came out with the blends and I found out that I could combine coloring with stamping, I was like, sold. I want all the colors. So if you've never used blends before, we're in that together because I only used them one time before now and it was making the initial card. So, when I was told about them, I was told that you start with light and then you go in with dark for your shading and put that where you want it, and then you go back over all of it with light. So I did that and it worked out great. So I'm just gonna stick to that. I don't know if it was right or not, but we're gonna go with it. So I'm gonna start with the pink here. I was also forewarned when I first started learning about the blends. This is the light one, right? Yeah. To be careful because they do like really saturate the paper. And so you want to be careful around your edges because they said that the ink will travel. So I just never go all the way to the black line. I kind of stop just a little before it. And I've never had an issue with it. So, well, I didn't have an issue with it earlier since that was my first time using them. Like, let's be honest here. So I'm just going in to this flower with the Melon Mambo and the light Melon Mambo blend. And I'm just really trying to coat that whole flower. I'm using the brush tip. When I was doing this earlier, I was using like the finer point tip, and I don't know why, because it just took way more time to color, I think. Yeah, I did use that tip, the finer point one with the dark one for sure, but with the light we gotta coat it all anyway, so like be like as precise as we can be with the brush tip, but like we're not aiming for perfection. We're not Hallmark. We're better. Beautiful. And I have a couple others that I want to do in pink, so I'm just going to do those with the light pink while I have it out. I love these blends because when you use like a regular marker and then you make a line and then you go over in the same area, you get like the streak marks. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell that you've like colored and recolored, and no matter how many times you recolor it, you never quite get that same saturation. And so it just looks like streaky and uneven and like liney and like not nice. And these blends are seamless. There's no streaks, there's no unwanted marks, no inconsistencies in the saturation. They are just perfection. Good job Stampin' Up. I'm a fan. Okay, we're gonna go in and do one more in pink because pink seems super summery to me. So why not? That's my doggies playing in the background. My fur babies. Yeah, like to be honest with you, most of this card is coloring. There's not really anything difficult about it. We're all toddlers at heart, right? And if a 3-year-old can make a picture worthy of a refrigerator, we can make a pretty card. So now we're gonna go in with our dark melon Mambo. And how I did this is I took these centers and how there's dots, I just kind of randomly did dots in there. Not like in any precise way to like match the ones that were in there or anything, just random dots. So we're gonna go through and do that. And then I took, so you have these lines in the daisy petals. I took and kind of like went over 1 or 2 of the lines, and then it's hard to see because I'm like on this edge right now, but if you give me a minute to get to the actual petals, I'll show you. Yeah, so I went on the actual line and then kind of went around the actual petal. To like finish it up. Well, I'm like rotating one of my pieces of paper and not the other, so they're just, it's fine. We're fine. We're professional crafters. Not really. Well, I suppose anybody could be a professional crafter. Okay. And so now if you look at that one compared to these ones, it already has like a lot more dimension and like characteristics. What word am I looking for? Character. She says character, so we're gonna stick with it. That's my PCA Jeannie. She's usually just kind of hanging out. Okay, so then on these petals here that are like definitely under other petals, I feel like they should be darker because you would think that there's going to be a shadow from the petals hanging over it on that. So I just kind of colored those ones in. It seemed appropriate. Beautiful. We just have this one. This one left. And then we're done with the pink. Which I feel like is the bulk of the flower, so. And again, I'm just kind of hitting the line and then like following the curve of the petal. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, we're not done with the pink after this. We have to go back over it with the light still. Professional crafters can't even give proper directions. Okay. Now we go back to the light. And then I just kind of very quickly, almost like just stroke each petal. And then hit the center. Now we're done with the pink. Okay, so we're gonna go into pumpkin pie now because I'm going in rainbow orangey bib order and orange is after red. That makes sense to me. Oh, that one was supposed to be orange. Okay, it's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly like my one from earlier. Okay, so again, going in with the light blend. Then I think we're gonna do this one orange. Then our dark one, and again just randomly speckle. Just doing like we did earlier, just a couple of stripes. And then maybe a curve around one of the petal edges. Trying to like keep my hand out of the way of the camera. I don't know how that's going because I can't see what you guys can see, but hopefully that's working out. Then we're gonna go back in with our light. And we're done with the orange. Moving on to Daffodil Delight. I think we've got just like a little corner of a flower up here that I want to make sure we hit. And then we've got these itty bitty little petals here. This flower was just a titch cut off. And then this really pretty one in the center. Which is like our only whole flower on the entire image. Oh no, the one below it, the pink one. We did get a decent pink one in there. Alright, see? We're doing it. Just making things. You know, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not upset that most of these are pink. Because that Melon Mambo is just so beautiful. And then we're gonna take our fine tip, and we have just like a little bit of a bud of a flower down here that I imagine like you'd see some of the yellow petals, so I just do like that very peekaboo part of it. It's fine. So now we're gonna go in with our dark Daffodil Delight. And random stripes following the curve of the petals, just trying to give our flower a little more pigment, a little more color, a little more character, a little more life, pizzazz. I should play more word games. Okay. Oh, I was just kind of sloppy on that one. Beautiful. Now back in with the light. All right, now we get to do the stems and the leaves. So for this, I did the stems in the dark olive, and then I did the outline and like the veins of the leaves in the dark olive, and then I did the rest of it with the light olive. So we're gonna go for that. And I did use the fine point for this because those stems are pretty dang small. And I didn't want to wreck the pretty flowers. And make sure that I get like the little bits of stem like in between the petals. And that covers up that blue pretty nicely. So if you were a little all over the place with your dauber, it is not the end of the world, my friend. Burn here. we're just gonna go in and I think earlier I just kind of outlined. I don't think I did like the light to dark on the leaves because I didn't really shade them. I'm just doing the outlines of them, like the black lines essentially. So the outline and then these veins here we're doing in the dark olive. Be careful around your little flower petals because we don't want to get a green blob in the middle of a pretty orange petal. So at that point you could just argue that they're dyed flowers. You can make anything work. Almost done. I just have a few more here. My dog's, my fiance's expecting a friend of his that my female is absolutely in love with, and I'm betting he just pulled up because she's kind of losing her marbles. Whoa, we just have one more in here. Okay, I just kind of want, I'm just kind of going over some of the lines on this bud here. Okay. So for this one up here, because it's so close to the petal, I'm going to take just this fine tip and just kind of and then for all the others, because we've kind of already outlined them anyways, they don't really take much. I just kind of very, I want to say quickly, but like we're not being sloppy. Kind of go over your leaves with your light one. I am in love with this daisy stamp. I literally got it today. It was a surprise gift. We made 6 cards with it, and since we finished the retreat, I have not stopped playing with it. I'm just like, what can I make? How can I color it? How can I use it? What can we do different? I've never had a background stamp before. I think that's my amazement with it. It's gorgeous, but I think it's just been a nice chance to experiment. There's some in the catalog I really like. I just haven't purchased them yet, because there's also lots of other things in the catalog that I really like the entire catalog. Getting to the end of this here. Ellie Mama. Sorry. Alright, and now we are done with the coloring. So as I color, I tend to find the little white spots that we didn't quite hit. My dauber, when I did it earlier, and yeah, even still, it tends to still have, you know, enough ink on it. You don't even need to re-ink it. Just kind of go in lightly. And you can fill in those white spots that you may have missed. If you find spots of your flowers or your leaves that you didn't quite hit, now is the time to go back in and just touch them up. Beautiful. Okay, so now that's done. So our next step is to mount this onto our black piece, which I feel like really made the colors pop. So we're using our Tombow Mono Multi-Liquid Glue, the multi-purpose liquid glue. And we're just gonna just hit that with glue. It's fine. And then try to center that onto your black piece as best you can. I feel like if I pick it up and just kind of scoot it with my fingers, that's the best. And then mine's not gonna be perfect because I rocked it, which you guys totally witnessed earlier. But we're gonna take our black piece now, and our goal is to line this up so that it looks like these are, you know, your color image, your black and white image focuses into a color image. And mine's not perfect because I did rock it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Got a little bit of ink there on accident, but it'll be okay. Then we're gonna take our larger piece of cardstock that we've scored, fold it in half. We'll mount this down onto that. I could hide this with a sentiment if I wanted to. And then our Bumblebee Trinkets. How cute are these little guys? Look at them. I'm in love. I think they are so adorable. And they were back ordered, but they are back in stock now, which is a blessing. And I used 2 of them because one just wasn't enough because they're so cute. And I put them on my pink flowers because I felt like they stood out more there. They were, I feel like you kind of lose it in that yellow maybe. So I'm just going to do a little dot of glue. You don't need much. then a little dot here. And voila, that is my Spotlight Daisy garden card. So I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe learned something. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to contact me. I leave my email and my information for you guys in the description to this video. If you're looking for a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be more than happy to help you with any of your stamping needs, crafting needs, scrapbooking, paper crafting in general. You can do it all with Stampin' Up! So, yes, reach out, make fun cards, be creative. Just go make beautiful things, guys. Go make summery daisy cards. Bye.